Happy Friday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Friday, October 20th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card we are starting our day off with today is, we love to see this, we've got our King of Pentacles energy. Now, masculine and feminine energy that is working in partnership or union. This is, again, a lot of that stability that is coming through right now in the partnership. We did identify yesterday that for masculine energy and partnership, there may have been an observation point in seeing the fact that the feminine energy was feeling a bit overwhelmed, putting a lot of their effort and energy into practical spaces and places right now. Yesterday, it may have felt like a little bit more of a slow start for the masculine to come into that same space or capacity, because we were really seeing the fact that masculine wanted to come into a point of easement with feminine, potentially even recognizing that that wasn't necessarily an option at that time. However, we now see that the masculine is reflecting the energy of the feminine that we saw that was so heavily invested in the practical space yesterday by embodying this quality back to them right now. While for feminine right now, this is, again, if you are in partnership and union, feeling the security, the stability that is being created by the masculine energy in partnership. I need to stress this doesn't necessarily need to articulate as financial stability. This is wherever you put that feeling of stability, that feeling of, again, security, of being able to build that ballast for yourself. Masculine is focusing on those areas very heavily today, and feminine, you are seeing that, recognizing it, and is potentially you are benefiting from it in the act of partnership and union. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is trying to come into partnership and union. This is, again, a lot of that energy that we were identifying as it relates to a lot of the feminine energy separating right now, just separating from masculine energy. We even identified yesterday that over the last few days, there may have been a lot of feminine energy making the intentional choice to walk away from what they are identifying is an unhealed karmic connection. Why is the feminine energy even recognizing that they're creating an unhealed karmic connection in the process? Because feminine energy is at a state or space where they are recognizing the limitation towards what they want to give forth to masculine versus what they're going to do. Feminine energy is feeling like they've washed their hands of things. And this is a moment where, again, feminine is telling themselves that they didn't necessarily close a door. Feminine hasn't closed the door on anything or anyone. Feminine is leaving themselves open to opportunities of masculine energy presenting itself from a point of stability. This is either the feminine, again, moving their manifestations, if in separation, towards an energy of masculine that is showing this level or degree of stability, of knowing what they want, i.e. those tangible offers that we saw were so important to the feminine, that is resulting in them moving away from masculine, that is not able to show that practical ability of tangibly articulating upon the commitment that they desire, versus masculine energy that they're potentially waiting on to see if the masculine energy can rise forward to this challenge. Masculine energy right now that is either in partnership, trying to come into partnership or separation. This is actually feeling like a lot of energy that you are effectively putting towards yourself right now. As I identified and articulated, a lot of the experience that the masculine energy may have had yesterday was feeling disempowered as it relates to going towards feminine energy or any energy at this point. There may have been a lot of feelings yesterday of trying to come into a space or state of distraction even for masculine, because, again, there is a focus right now on the heart's desire, but there's either something in your own present experience that you recognize and identify may need to be adjusted to be able to move towards that energy with the intentionality that you know that energy insists upon. For the masculine energy, this is almost, again, either masculine energy withdrawing themselves, going back into separation, trying to build their own stability back up in this moment. Or this is masculine energy in separation, putting forth the changes in their own life that they feel is going to make it possible to come back into union with that Empress energy. Continuing to get clarification on these cards. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is King of Swords. We saw a lot This card may look familiar. It's the same card that we received yesterday in the same exact position. Masculine energy, feeling disempowered right now as it relates. And for the masculine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For all energy at play right now, one of the feelings of frustration that you could be feeling right now during this space in between the eclipse cycle, what I'm kind of identifying or articulating right now as the eye of the storm. It may be feeling right now, masculine, like you are struggling between what you would desire to do versus what you need to get done. This is almost that conflict point that we're seeing, and it's creating some feeling, again, more of some of that frustrating energy that we saw that was rising to the surface, because again, this is that moment that you may be feeling like you are shelving your own desire, your own need, and just putting your practical efforts in tangible spaces right now to help overcome some of those doubts, some of those fears. Masculine energy in partnership at this time, this could even be feeling like that point of frustration, because again, while you are just focusing, you're putting your nose to the grindstone today as it relates to what you want to get done. You are also feeling a bit of that anxiety, a bit of that uncertainty still rising to the surface. Why are we seeing this right now in partnerships? Because we saw that even over the last few days, masculine is almost carrying something. The same doubts and fears that the feminine is feeling, but not articulating about them to the same capacity and degree that the feminine is. There's still some fear here. There's still some anxiety. There's even a point of separation right now because feminine has potentially even identified this in masculine and said, I'm here if you want to talk about these things. And masculine, this is more of that feeling of distraction. What is the masculine doing? Masculine energy isn't putting their attention on their doubts, on their fears, on their uncertainties. They're putting their headspace in what they can actually effectually change. So a lot of focus right now in the center of stability. Feminine, you may be seeing this right now in your masculine energy, and this may be why you are feeling the power of the divine partnership energy, because this is, again, a masculine that doesn't allow themselves to be overcome by their own doubts, their own uncertainties, their own fears. It is an energy that channels them back into practical spaces and places, thereby refortifying and building your own ability to do so in the process, because you are recognizing, identifying, and appreciating it about this energy. Masculine and feminine energy that is either in separation or trying to come into partnership at this time, because these timelines have again kind of converged here. We are effectively seeing that this is the moment that feminine energy is making peace with unhealed karmic energy. Why is the feminine energy? It's not the fact that the feminine energy hasn't been triggered. We even saw that a bit of that trigger point may have been hit in terms of communicating with the masculine over the last few days. This is the feminine energy resolving to themselves. One, and it's going to feel like a bit of a point of polarity right now. Feminine could be feeling like they're getting very polarized as it relates to their looking and their observation towards masculine right now. Because this is either a feminine energy right now that is looking at a masculine and almost saying, and I have to stress, why is the feminine doing this? Because they've been seeing the masculine energy vacillate in some degree. Feminine energy is effectively rejecting the gray area, rejecting the area of uncertainty as it relates to masculine and connection right now. This is feminine energy saying, this does not need to be a complicated situation or scenario. And in fact, feminine is seeing right now any masculine energy that is trying to overcomplicate a situation as the point of rejection, because this is feminine energy looking at masculine right now and saying, are you in or are you out? Do you want this with me or do you not? Do you want to build stability? Are you going to come into my life and create a center of stability? Are you going to be in that manifestation? Because if not, feminine is looking at masculine and saying, or are you too afraid to? That's all it is for feminine. This is why the feminine isn't chasing after the masculine. Why the feminine is washing their hands, because this is a feminine that is looking to masculine right now and saying, I've done this work. I did my portion of this karmic homework. I did half the assignment. It is now your time to do your half of the assignment. And if you don't do your half of the assignment, then feminine is observing masculine and saying, you're too afraid to. They're not even looking at it as the masculine not desiring it, which is what's so intriguing right now. This is a feminine energy saying, you know what? It doesn't even matter if you're saying to me you want it, because you need to do it. So it's either you do it or you don't. And if you don't do it, it's because you're too afraid to do it. That's why feminine energy is saying, and if you're not going to be able to do that, I am turning my attention to potentially new opportunities around masculine that show the capacity and degree to finish the assignment, i.e. commitment, divine union, etc. Masculine energy right now, this is again, either masculine energy trying to come into partnership right now, or masculine energy in separation. This is that point of observation as it relates to feeling some uncertainty as to what you want to do and what you want to proceed towards right now. Because what we are really identifying right now for the masculine energy in this vibration is, again, either looking at a heart's desire, wanting to move towards it, feeling limited and blocked. Feeling limited and blocked. This is, again, either circumstances beyond your control or circumstances that you are feeling the anxiety in making changes in your own life to accommodate and adapt for. You may be in potentially, and again, this is what's maybe hard right now for the masculine energy and separation, especially if you're embodying this. You may be identifying here that this is a personal issue right now. This is something that you are lacking the courage to be able to move towards. So for the masculine energy right now that is feeling the anxiety in terms of trying to take the steps necessary to see if they can reestablish a connection right now with a heart's desire, what is the masculine energy doing? You're trying to distract yourself in the tangible space. You're potentially throwing yourself into work. You're throwing yourself into what you can effectively change, trying to avoid the spaces and places that you may be feeling too much anxiety to actually take action on. This is giving a lot of that energy of what you would desire to do, but what you are doing instead. While for the other part of the masculine energy, this is about that recalibration, because what we identified and recognized is for the masculine energy, there's been a point of observation and having to identify and see something that you need to change about your own life to come into divine union or partnership with your heart's desire. And we're effectively seeing right now that for the masculine energy that's in this vibration, this is the opposite that's happening. This is looking at what is blocking and stopping you and making the accommodation points. Really like almost doing a lot of planning and saying, what do I need to change and adjust within my own life right now that is going to eradicate and remove those hurdles that are blocking and stopping me from being able to go after the heart's desire. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Middle card in our 5-card spread for today is Hangman. So there's more of this waiting that's feeling. And what did I say with the eye of the storm? It's going to feel a little bit like a limbo moment right now. Because again, it's a lot of, we're like caught between two very explosive energies of the eclipse. Right off, coming off that new moon in Libra. So a lot of clearing of energy, a lot of things coming up to the surface that either need to be addressed and handled or just removed entirely. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in divine partnership and union. There's something here that's feeling like a little bit of a waiting game. Why? Because we see that feminine energy is effectively feeling very overwhelmed. Feminine energy is trying to push forward on some things right now that are taking all of their time, all of their energy. Masculine and feminine is effectively recognizing that they're just kind of having to be in that modality. What's appreciative right now for the feminine energy that's in that modality is you see a masculine that is just trying to offer support. And there may even be a point right now of recognizing that there may be a sense of assistance, of the masculine desiring to assist you to a certain degree, and potentially you having to say to the masculine, these are some things that you can't necessarily assist me with. These are things that I need to go through myself. And again, that's either happening around some of those unhealed karmic energies that we saw that the feminine energy is trying to work through right now on an emotional level, or tangible, practical issues that feminine energy is trying to tackle that only they themselves can tackle. Masculine is effectively looking to the feminine right now in divine union and partnership, being like, I got your back. Do what you need to do. Know that you can hang in that space. Know that you can take the time that you need. Masculine energy is just doing everything they can to create a supportive environment as they also focus on their own stability, i.e. fortifying the stability of the divine union. Masculine and feminine energy right now trying to come into partnership or in separation. This is, again, a bit of that feeling that feels like the feminine energy, while there may be a point of washing their hands to a certain extent, there may be a feeling of observing a masculine right now and realizing and feeling on some level that you are still waiting to see if the masculine energy can rise to this challenge. As we said, this is not a feminine energy that is closing the door on masculine. This is feminine energy. This is where the feminine energy is giving that point of catharsis for themselves. This is feminine energy saying, nothing is effectively open. Doors are there. People have to walk through them. So for the feminine energy, even as they're moving away from a masculine right now, even as they're telling themselves, I am moving forward, I am going to find new opportunities with energy that is going to come through in a stable fashion, feminine is effectively saying this is a moment that they're potentially observing a masculine and almost like looking back at them and saying, are you coming with me or are you not? Are you coming with me or are you not? I'm offering you. Feminine has been vulnerable to a masculine. They have articulated what they want with the masculine. They've told them what they desire. And this is the feminine effectively leaving that door open and saying, are you coming in or are you going to stay where you are? Almost potentially even seeing the masculine energy vacillating back and forth in these points as they decide what to do. Because again, this is a feminine that needed to see a point of activation. They needed to see the masculine show some tangible change, tangible efforts to fortify the truth and stability of a union. We've been seeing heavily over the last few days for the feminine, effectively articulating a masculine. The words mean nothing without action. Masculine, you may be seeing the fact that the feminine's in this vibration. The problem with the masculine, which may be very, very important right now, I need to stress this. This is potentially what's happening right now because there could be a differentiation in optics right now as to what is happening between the masculine and the feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. Masculine, you may be under the false assumption around something here that because a feminine energy expressed to you how they feel, that you have a long birth of time to decide what you want to do. And if you're feeling like that, I need to remove that assumption from you because that is not what's happening. What is actually happening right now is this is a feminine energy, as I've said, that is washing their hands of the karmic connection. They're saying to you, I need you to come forward. I need you to be vulnerable now. Or I'm going off seeking new possibilities and opportunity of energy that is not going to flinch when these questions are asked. The feminine masculine right now is almost potentially even feeling that if you're in this communication cycle with the feminine energy, you may be saying to yourself, oh, I just need to decide what to do. Feminine just told me how they feel about me. That's there. That's in the bag. I have them. Masculine energy, maybe you may be feeling under the false presumption that because of feminine energy expressed how they feel about you, that they're not going to go anywhere. And so you're taking time to decide what to do. But I need to stress, if you're in a masculine in this vibration, that is not what is happening here. This is a feminine energy that is telling you how they feel. Not to say, I am going to stay here and wait forever for you to come back to me. This is a feminine energy being like, this is how I feel. But I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm not going to let the feeling stop me from getting someone who is going to tangibly meet me where we're at. So for the masculine feeling this right now, this could be a bit of the issue that I just want to warn you about to make sure that you don't accidentally override this point of concession that you're giving yourself to a certain extent. Because as we see here, masculine's looking at something and looking at feminine and trying to decide whether they want to move towards feminine. Do you see the disparity in these energies? Why this is probably post-eclipse, which is probably going to lead to a blow-up? Feminine is literally seeing, and the masculine energy is feeling and looking at feminine right now and being like, oh, it's okay. They're telling me I have time to decide. Feminine energy is looking at the vacillation point as the decision. Feminine is looking at the masculine energy. If the masculine energy is flip-flopping or not moving with certainty towards the feminine after the feminine has been vulnerable, this is a feminine energy saying they're never going to do it. There's the vacillation is the issue. The vacillation, the uncertainty is the issue, which is feminine. Effectively, when they expressed in that the way, the feminine was saying, I love you, I have emotion for you, I have passion for you, I am attracted to you, but bye. That's what's happening right now. I want these energies to recognize the dissimilarity in what's potentially happening right now. Oh my goodness. All right, continuing to get clarity on these cards right now. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is this is what's happening. Because again, we'll get to the partnered energies in a minute. We need to talk about this separated, i.e. partnership energy, because it's wild right now with this eclipse. Do you see? This is literally like a fun house mirror. This is a fun house mirror effect that we are seeing right now with these energies. Because masculine right now is potentially looking towards the feminine, and it's not the fact. The masculine isn't coming towards the feminine, the object of the desire right now, due to a lack of like a need. This is a masculine energy effectively being like, I need to make practical changes right now to be able to go towards this feminine. Like, I know how this feminine feels about me. I know. I'm trying to decide if I'm ready to make those changes. I'm trying to decide if I'm like doing it. Masculine energy is going back and forth being like, I don't know. Maybe not now. Maybe I got to think about it. There's a lot of changes I need to do. Again, for some of the masculine energy right now, this is potentially looking at the feminine being like, oh, that's the person I want. There may even be something with the masculine being like, now's not the time. Now's not the time. But maybe at some other point when I'm ready, when things in my life are more adaptable, I'll reach out to the heart's desire. Like, that's where we see some of the masculine energy right now. It's literally masculine going, this is all I want. But it's going to be like really hard to like fit it into like what I have. It's not like fitting into my collection. It's like someone being like, oh, I got to look at my life and how do I fit? It's like, this is literally the masculine doing this to a certain extent. Some of the masculine is saying, not now. I'll just keep them at a distance. I'll come back to them. They'll be there. They'll be there. The other part of the masculine energy is effectively being like, I just need some time. Hold on. I need to make some space for you. I need to figure out what I need to adjust. Both energies are like, I just need like a little bit of time. And feminine is going, no. Feminine energy is going, no. Feminine energy is like, this is the feminine looking at the masculine being like, I think you misunderstood what I said. That the feminine energy in the emotional expression to the masculine energy on how they feel was not saying to the masculine energy, like, I love you. I have emotions for you. I have passion for you. I am going to wait here forever for you to decide when the time will be right. No, this was a feminine energy at their wit's end. This was a feminine energy that literally went vulnerable to the masculine to say to them, this is how I feel. Time is up. This isn't like a moment of me pledging my undying love to you. This is feminine energy effectively saying, I love you, but the love isn't enough. I care about you, but the care isn't enough. I have all sorts of passion for you, but the passion isn't enough. Are you in or are you out? Because the feminine is saying to the masculine right now, if you can't come forward and make this tangible, if you can't come forward and take whatever this like mystical, spiritual, sexual experience that we're having together, if you can't turn that into something that I can actually hold in the hands, the feminine is saying, bye, goodbye, goodbye. Because feminine is seeing this as a masculine, that it is not even the fact that the masculine is trying to hold feminine in this vibration. This is a feminine energy that's looking at a masculine that's saying, you're never going to change. You're never going to change. You're always going to vacillate, because they're identifying a masculine energy that sees their heart's desire and doesn't just go running towards it. Masculine and feminine energy in divine union and partnership right now. This is just feminine energy giving the masculine energy some concession today. Just as the masculine had to give feminine concession yesterday, recognizing that the feminine needed a little bit of that space, needed a little bit of that assistance, masculine almost looking for like practical busy work yesterday as the feminine was trying to take care of things. Masculine is now, feminine's reflecting that back to the masculine. Now it's the masculine's day for this. We see the masculine is taking back what they see. They are also very much invested. It's almost like masculine. We can almost see a lot of the masculine yesterday. You may have like picked up something to like distract yourself on. And this is masculine now having gone into the weeds on it. Like just like diving into something now being heavily invested in something that you may have even picked up on like a lark because the feminine was busy. This is now feminine being like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to give you your space. Feminine's doing their thing. But again, the partnership itself is stable because this is the security that both energies provide the other. Fifth card in our 5-card spread, before we start getting clarity on these cards right now, is, oh my goodness, this card. It's everybody calm down. It's eclipse season. This is the second time this week we've seen this card. And again, for the energies that is in partnership, this is the beauty of the partnership, because there may be feeling right now like you're trying to mitigate or navigate some disaster. But the beauty of the partnership, the beauty of the divine union, is that the divine union does not collapse under the weight of a tower moment. The divine union can handle the fact that like crisis is evident at every moment in the experience. You know what I mean? This is giving a lot of moment energy right now of feeling like the divine union's energies are both deeply concerted and focusing right now on operating functionally in the center of a crisis. Eye of the storm. This is almost feeling like again, the masculine and feminine energy in partnership right now. There can almost be like a vibration of like disaster preparedness coming through, right? It's like disaster preparedness, like just like doing what needs to be done. Masculine's got their head nose to the grindstone. Feminine energy is dealing with a lot of emotional stuff, also putting a lot of like practical energy into the practical space right now, as well as feeling the weight of a lot of this like emotional unhealed energy. There's potentially a lot of unhealed karmic energy around these partnerships as well. So it's not just coming from the partnership right now, from like just it's not just the practical space, it's also like the spiritual and emotional space. There's just a lot to be dealt with right now. But the energy in divine union and partnership, they're rallying, they're coming together, they're working together to avert and avoid crisis. It's the empowerment, the beauty of the divine union energy. If you are in separation, this is going to feel a lot different, because what we're effectively seeing here right now is, again, and this is what I meant about the fun house mirror that is potentially happening right now between the masculine and the feminine, seeing something from an entirely different perspective right now, okay? Masculine is looking at something right now and saying, oh, feminine over the last few days gave some evidence on how they feel about me. I know now. This feminine opened up. They're vulnerable. I've got them. This is masculine going, this energy has told me they care about me. This energy has told me, and again, maybe in a very triggered way, masculine's looking at this potentially if you're in separation or trying to come into partnership. You're going, it might have been a little triggered. They may have gotten a little emotional. There probably could have been a better way. But this is a masculine looking at their heart's desire and going, they told me. They told me how they feel. I now can decide what to do with that. A masculine is taking their sweet time to decide what to do about it, effectively looking at circumstances and situations and saying, well, there's a lot of accommodations and adjustments I might need to make based on how this energy feels. Am I really in a space or place where I want to make these accommodations and adjustments? Or is it just going to bring like a lot of crisis to my life to try to integrate this right now, because there is a deviation point right now happening with the masculine energy versus what their heart's desire is versus what is immediately around them. So masculine right now is, again, thinking about it. They're going, oh, am I ready to like bring in some of this crisis because it's going to shake things up? I need to figure out the best way to accommodate this. Do I really kind of like move towards this energy now? Do I wait? Maybe I just like try to do like, again, disaster preparedness. So this is either masculine energy going, no, it's going to be too much. I can't go towards this energy right now, but it's okay because they care about me. So if something changes later, it's going to be there. Versus the other part of the masculine energy right now that is trying to say like, just slow down, hold on. I need to make some adjustments. I need to like fix some stuff up right now to make sure that when I bring you into my life or when I do this, it's not going to create crisis. The problem that's happening right now is masculine feels like they're being given some kind of tether from the feminine that's allowing them to go back and forth on deciding what to do. What's actually happening is the opposite. For the feminine energy right now, this is looking at a masculine. This is having a moment that feminine energy to be vulnerable to this capacity, to the masculine, to articulate how they feel, to articulate what they want, to even get triggered as they hit that point of vulnerability. This was the feminine energy not saying to the masculine, I care about you, I'll be here forever. This was the feminine energy saying, now or never. Like this is feminine opening up to the expression of saying, I'm telling you exactly how I feel because I am ready to let this go. Because the feminine energy is looking at the masculine and saying, your lack of ability to meet me is the crisis. Masculine's trying to avoid a crisis. Feminine is trying to say to masculine, the crisis is here. We are in the storm. Masculine's looking at the storm being like, oh, well, we just need to avoid that storm. Feminine's saying, are you crazy? Are you nuts? We are in the center of the storm right now. Like this is it. It's now or never. And feminine is seeing masculine potentially vacillating from a space or state where they just opened up. They completely disclosed to masculine how they feel because this was an act of release for the feminine. This is feminine saying, if you can't come forward towards me, I am walking away from this crisis. This is the crisis. Your lack of ability to show the tangible to the feminine is defining to the feminine that this is potentially a situation or scenario where they may feel a deep emotional connection, a deep spiritual connection, and potentially even a deep sexual connection. But it's feminine is saying it's not enough. To experience those without the ability of feeling them in a tangible way is creating too much of a crisis to the feminine, which is why feminine's saying your vacillation point right now is exactly why they're looking. This is a feminine energy that is already drawn away, that's already looking in other spaces and places as the masculine is like trying to pick out their shirt, you know? Masculine's trying to pick out their shirt. Feminine is already in the car. Feminine's outside looking for a ride from someone else. See this powder keg we're coming into before this eclipse? Please listen to this. All right, let's continue right now. Clarification between our King of Swords in its reversal in combination with our King of Pentacles. Are you in or are you out? May I please have one card to clarify? This energy clarify. Oh, you see, this is it. This is it. Because here's the thing. I have to stress right now for the feminine energy, it's not about the offer. It is about the expedience. Feminine energy is looking at things right now and they are ascending and they're coming into a space and recognizing that saying, if you're making, and this is why the feminine energy right now is not waiting, because feminine energy has just reached a point of enlightenment and saying to themselves, if you make me wait, if you make me wait for this, if I have expressed to you how I feel and you make me wait, then all that masculine is effectively telling the feminine in that moment is you will always make me wait. That is what the feminine is moving away from, beyond their own feelings. And it feels like a crisis moment. It feels very painful for the feminine energy to do this. It feels like feminine energy is literally creating unhealed karmic energy as they pull away from the masculine, trying to help the masculine. And again, and they're not even potentially articulating this to the masculine, because how can you say to someone, you don't seem to get it? It doesn't matter how you feel about me. If you make me wait to find out how you feel, if you have to take a moment to consider which direction you run in a moment of crisis, then keep running in the opposite direction, because that's what's effectively happening to feminine right now. Feminine energy feels like, with the combination of, again, them hitting a trigger point and being vulnerable in a way feminine has created. This is feminine energy trying to say to the masculine energy, I am in a state of crisis over this situation. This is a feminine energy that is like sitting there, like, again, they're like screaming from like a tower to a masculine saying, help, I need help. And they are watching the masculine right now to see if this is a masculine that will run towards them and say, help is on the way, i.e. divine union. Or if this is a feminine going, I need help, and masculine is saying, oh God, she's nuts. And oh man, that looks bad, and running in the opposite direction, right? And this is the feminine effectively watching the masculine, or even watching the masculine scratching their head going, oh, what do I do? Should I do this? What should I do that? Should I do that? Should I get a ladder? Should I do this? And feminine's just like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is feminine going like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is feminine literally going, I need help. Why aren't you helping me? Right? Masculine, if you're in this modality, and this is why masculine, you're trying to figure out what to do. This is the problem. This is you going to the feminine and be like, oh, it's okay. I'm just trying to figure out what to do. I'm just figuring out what to do. And feminine's going, the fact that you're thinking about it, the fact that you're considering it, the fact that you're taking your time to figure out what to do when the feminine is saying, I am in crisis, is the validation to feminine. That's all they need to see at this point. And it doesn't have anything to do, again, for the feminine right now, it doesn't have anything to do with how they feel. It's seeing what the masculine will do in a point of crisis that is giving the feminine, and which is why it's feeling like a crisis, because it's hard for the feminine to see that. It's hard for the feminine to potentially see someone that they were vulnerable to, someone that they even potentially were vulnerable to the point of being triggered, to try to articulate what they need from them. It's hard for the feminine to watch them vacillate in that space and place. And feminine is saying to themselves, this is why, again, feminine is almost out the door right now for the energy right now that's either trying to come into partnership or is in separation. Feminine's like, I'm not going to wait. There's energy I could come towards right now that feminine knows firmly that there's energy that is present. There's energy they can manifest, that when they're in a point of crisis, they're not going to run away from the fire. They're going to run towards it. They're going to run in the direction to try to do something to assist. And this is why this is potentially feeling like a crisis point right now, because feminine energy is releasing unhealed karmic energy by having a point of concession and saying, I may care about that person. I may love that person. I may have a lot of passionate energy towards that person, but that person is a coward. That's how the feminine energy is observing the masculine that is vacillating. They're saying this person lacks the bravery, the confidence, the strength to be able to be in divine union with them. And feminine saying, I'm choosing otherwise. That the emotions, the emotionality, the care isn't enough. This is feminine energy saying, I need someone who's going to be here. I need someone who shows through action that they care, as opposed to passion or emotionality. Masculine, this is effectively, again, potentially, and this is what I'm stressing, we're seeing this fun house mirror before this next eclipse, because it feels like we're moving towards it. This is because you see this misalignment that's now occurring, okay? This is masculine potentially feeling like you're giving yourself some point of concession, masculine, because you feel like whatever you're doing right now is productive. You don't feel like you're not doing anything. You feel like you're trying to decide. You're almost potentially trying to articulate to yourself. You're like, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm like moving with like clarity of purpose, intentionality. The problem is if you haven't articulated what that is to feminine, you better. Is what I'm saying. You better, because like this is a feminine that is like seeing any of this distance, seeing any of this pause as the confirmation that something is just finished. Something is just over. Something just needs to be moved away from. Masculine and feminine energy right now in partnership and union. This is exactly why the partnership and union's working so well, because what's happening? What did I just say? What is feminine seeing? It's not the fact that there isn't some pervasive sense of crisis. It is the beauty and the strength of feeling like you are in a partnership where you know the energy has your back. Even when they're not feeling super confident as well. Right? That's a fact. It's not the fact that this energy is not being impacted or affected by what's happening around you both. It's that even in the face of their own difficulties, in their own hurdles, this is an energy that the feminine is identifying always shows up. And that's what's reaffirming the divine union and divine partnership. Masculine in divine union and divine partnership. This is a feminine energy that we saw over the last few days, even through their own difficulties and hurdles, even through some moments that you haven't been completely open and expressive. This feminine energy is always remaining vulnerable, open to you, trying to articulate how much they care, trying to find those points to emotionally assist you. And you're seeing and experiencing this right now. And this is what is further empowering you to give you the strength, even through moments of uncertainty, to move in this vitality in this direction, i.e. why you are also getting the strength from the divine union and divine partnership. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our King of Pentacles in combination with our Hanged Man. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, oh my God, what am I saying with this decision? With this, like, do you see this slowdown? Do you see this slowdown that's happening right now? And again, this is so calm before the storm, eye of the storm. Look at this energy we've got here right now. Like, look at it. Okay? Now, masculine and feminine energy that is working in partnership and union. This is more of that hold energy that we're seeing. There's something here that, like, again, both masculine and feminine energy, a lot of energy concentrated to practical spaces and places, doing what needs to be done to avert disaster right now. Almost a recognition that everybody's a little bit in the space of this. May even be feeling like you're dealing with a lot of like practical things do you have to deal with today to avert crisis. But again, it's okay. Masculine and feminine energy are almost like putting things off in terms of the connection itself, recognizing the strength of the partnership. As you do so is what's allowing you a certain point right now of saying, it's okay. Things can wait because we have time. You know, it's more about figuring out what needs to be done when it needs to be done. There are some decisions that need to be reached. There may even be a point right now of observing, taking the time as necessary in the practical spaces and places before like moving together as like a single action. Again, this is potentially some of that planning that we saw coming through over the last few days for the divine union and partnership. That's like leading to a lot of just like assessing the situation that you find it in so that you can figure out the best way going forward. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is either in separation or trying to come back into partnership. This is that disparity that we're seeing that is so pronounced right now that, again, could potentially be leading to disaster. It could be leading to a disaster that's happening right now due to a misunderstanding of optics. Why are we saying that again? Because masculine is sitting here in separation or trying to come into partnership. And what did I say? They're trying to decide the course of action. They're doing it from a point of observing, of thinking, of feeling, of looking around and being like, what am I going, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. It's these ones. What am I going to do next? Masculine's not feeling super confident about that. They're trying to decide what to do next. They're waiting. They're taking their time. They feel something got miscommunicated in a big way, in something that the masculine saw in the feminine. that the masculine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, 333 in the room, there's a huge miscommunication problem happening right now. In masculine seeing the feminine energy open up to them and be triggered, that has made the masculine energy now feel like that feminine is present, is available, is accessible to them. That is giving the masculine energy some feeling that they can take their time as it relates to what to do next. Masculine isn't feeling super confident about it. There's that vacillation point. Masculine is holding in their present specific position from a place of trying to get like deep insight, deep understanding. It almost might be feeling like some like intentional self-observation to try to like come into this modality and start determining what to do. Masculine may have even articulated to the feminine in some way after what the feminine expressed to them, saying, I just need a little time. I just need a little time to decide like how I'm going to do this, what I'm going to do, which direction I'm going to go into, whether we can do this, because they feel like they've seen that expression of emotionality from the feminine. The problem with the feminine right now is the feminine is effectively trying to say to the masculine, I think you misunderstood what I was saying, right? Feminine energy is like, I don't think you got the memo in terms of what I was trying to tell you in articulating, in being that vulnerable. The feminine was almost trying to say to the masculine, that wasn't a breakthrough that you saw. That wasn't me reaching this point of opening my heart space to you. This wasn't a love story. This is a forest fire. This was me trying to articulate to you. Feminine saying to the masculine, this was me reaching my breaking point. Reaching my breaking point. Getting to a space that we saw the feminine energy was completely vulnerable and completely triggered. And is effectively trying to say to the masculine right now, that was not meant in a romantic way. That wasn't meant in a way that you should have taken it to assume that that means that I'm articulating to you that my care is pervasive and ever existing. Feminine's almost saying like, it is, but I'm also walking away. Like this was a feminine that was basically like saying writing a goodbye note to the masculine by articulating how they feel. And masculine's going, oh, well, now that I know how you feel, I need to decide what to do. And feminine's like, I've already decided. I've already decided. And if you need to take time to decide what to do after the feminine has opened up to you in this degree, this is a feminine saying you already decided. You already decided. That was the point. You missed it. You missed the moment. Like this is almost a feminine saying, it's already happened. You already missed it. I'm looking somewhere else. I'm looking for the stability somewhere else because feminine has already seen something in the masculine, in the fact that feminine opened their heart space to them. I need to stress this, masculine. This is what you need to understand is happening. This is a feminine energy that's looking at you with a point of potentially even like shock and saying, I opened up to you and told you how I feel, and you need to decide. You need to take it into consideration. You need to say, I need a minute to accommodate this. This is feminine saying, no. That's the crisis. This is feminine already going into a place of recovery if they opening up to you didn't immediately lead to you doing the same. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Hangman in combination with our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal. Clarification coming through right now with this fickle beast of temperance today. This fickle beast of temperance that is occurring right now for both masculine and feminine energy. Now for the partnered energies, this is going to be a gift. This is going to be a gift. Masculine and feminine energy right now, they're not necessarily able to feed a lot into the divine union or divine partnership. But it's okay. because it's almost like a point of recognition. Feminine's kind of doing their thing. Feminine's like, I'm kind of busy right now. Feminine is going through like more of a spiritual issue right now. This is just feeling like a lot of heaviness from the feminine, like on all parts. Masculine's just like a more like practically indisposed right now in divine union and partnership, but it's okay. Time is on the side of the divine union and partnership. You don't need to do everything overnight. You're relying and right now, which is almost like saying to you, you don't need to boil the ocean in a day. This is a game. This is a game of slow incremental wins. The divine union and partnership helps build that security and stability. Both energies are feeling the security of time working in their fashion and favor because of the security of the divine union and partnerships. All right. Masculine and feminine energy. This is the funhouse mirror of time that is effectively happening right now during this eclipse cycle, which is leading potentially, coming through to a certain extent related to the fact that we are identifying that there's something very difficult and different happening right now between the masculine and the feminine energy. Masculine energy is feeling like something that was expressed to them by the feminine is creating a space or place where they feel that they have time now. Masculine is being like, oh, I know how they feel now. They finally told me how they feel. I finally have that clarity. I just need to decide what to do with it. I just need to decide how to go forward. Masculine's even vacillating right now, being like, I can't come forward toward them now, but I don't need to come towards them now. I can take my time. They've told me how they feel. I know how they feel. It's there. It's present. I see it. That's great. I can take all the time I want. No, that's not what's happening. Feminine and masculine's going, which is good because I've got a lot of stuff I have to deal with right now in the practical space. So, it's a little hard right now for me to make these accommodations for you, feminine, but it's okay. You told me how you feel. It's wonderful. Feminine is potentially, again, articulating to masculine right now. No, it's not. I was not telling you that because I was telling you I was waiting for you. This is feminine that was trying to say to the masculine, don't you understand? Don't you see? Don't you recognize? That was me saying to you, I've been waiting. Nothing about this hasn't been about waiting. All I've been doing is waiting for you. And I'm done waiting. Masculine is looking at this right now like feminine just gave them more time. And feminine was like, that was not a pledge of loyalty. That was not a pledge of love. That opening up, that expression, that vulnerability combined with a sense of potential like triggering was not a gift to you. It wasn't an expression of love. It was a goodbye. It was a now or never. It was a call. It was a cry for help. It was a cry to ask you to meet me here because I'm leaving. This is feminine going, I'm going to find someone who can. And this is that moment that like this lack of understanding, this lack of optics, this is masculine energy. If they're not hearing from feminine right now, this could be a masculine energy being like, it's okay, we're just taking some time off as I like figure out myself. That's not what's happening here. This is feminine energy that just said goodbye to you. And you potentially think that they're giving you some like birth or breath of time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with the Tower. Again, there's a very different, what did I just say? Very different optics happening right now as it relates to what's occurring. Masculine energy doesn't want to give forth the feminine right now because they feel like they don't want to avert, they don't want to create a crisis. Feminine's like, you not coming forward in this way is the crisis. That's why. This is it. This is it. Are you falling together or are you falling apart? And why is this happening right now? I'm going to explain it exactly. Masculine, this is what's going on with the side of the feminine right now. This is a feminine energy. All right. This is a feminine energy. What is happening right now for the divine union and the divine partnership? Okay. Divine union and divine partnership. There's a crisis going on. The divine unions and the divine partnerships recognize there is always a crisis going on. It is never an ideal time. There is never an ideal time for divine union and partnerships. So I'm even saying right now, there's a lot of energy coming into, at the same time that this is happening, this is that split. There's a lot of energy that is coming into divine partnership right now, just as there is a lot of energy separating right now. Because this is that moment that is really forcing energy to look at each other and say, what do you do in a moment of crisis? Masculine and feminine energy and divine partnership right now, they're supporting each other. They're using the crisis as a rallying cry. It's bringing them closer together. Okay? It's feminine saying, I need help. Masculine being like, I got you. Right? It's masculine saying, I need help. And it's feminine going, I got you. Right? That's what we're seeing that's happening here for the divine union, divine partnership. What's happening outside of it? Masculines, are you a separated masculine right now? Are you a separated masculine? Or a masculine trying to come into partnership that's trying to tell a feminine that you really would like to come towards them right now, but it's not a great time? Is that what's happening? Is that what's happening? That's feminine. And you're saying that, but it's okay because they'll understand. No, they won't understand. Because what you've just articulated to the feminine, when things are difficult, I'm not going to be here. Sorry. That divine union you want, that you and me forever, it's really can we do it next Thursday? Do you have time like 3:00 next Thursday? Maybe we can go into divine union then. You know what? Right now, like divine union, it sounds really good, but I got a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of I need to rearrange some stuff on my schedule. But maybe next Tuesday when you're ready for divine union, we can circle back up. This is feminine looking at them and saying no. This is feminine energy going, he doesn't get it. And this is feminine energy looking and saying, and this is why this is feminine energy, healing these unhealed karmic energies right now. Because this is feminine energy, again, it's going to feel like a moment of crisis for the feminine. Because it has nothing to do with how the feminine feels. This is looking at a masculine and saying, if he doesn't get it now, he's never going to get it. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be that thing. There's always going to be that moment. There's never, because that's a masculine saying, don't worry, I'll come back to you when things are perfect. And this is feminine saying, it's not our job to come together when things are perfect. It's our job to be as perfect as we can in imperfect situations. And that's the moment the feminine saying, oh, and I need to stress for a lot of the masculine right now, you're not going to know that this is happening. You're not going to know that this is happening. This is probably feminine going, okay, yeah, that sounds good. All right, you just let me know. You just let me know. I'll be here. Yeah, whenever you're ready. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. Whenever you're ready, I'll be, no, this is feminine energy that's, again, almost looking at masculine right now and saying, goodbye. All right. Sounds good. Okay, I'll talk to you next Thursday. Cool. Feminine energies already, they're in the car. They're gone. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Swords in combination with our Two of Swords. Are you moving? There's a crisis. The fire alarm's been pulled. There's a crisis right now. What are you doing? Are you waiting or are you taking action? May I please have one card to clarify? What are you doing? Right? This is what we're seeing with this point between the eclipses. Okay? Masculine and feminine in partnership. This is that moment that we see. This is again, a lot of energy potentially coming into divine union and divine partnership right now. Why? Because the energy that is in divine union and divine partnership, you're building, you're holding on to what is valuable. You're building a deeper appreciation for what you have in the midst of a crisis. You are coming to each other's aid. You are making decisions together. You're holding on some things. You're not immediately, you're using a lot of discernment right now on what needs to be taken care of in this immediate moment versus what needs to wait. But you're doing it in union. You're doing it together. You're going through a crisis together. Okay? The difference right now between the energy in divine union and partnership versus the energy in separation. Now, for masculine and feminine energy that is trying to come into partnership, this is the disparity of potentially what is occurring right now versus what is one person thinks is happening versus what another person thinks is happening. Because this is, again, a masculine energy that if you're in separation right now, either one of two different things are happening. This is literally the split. Again, we're seeing a split moment into going into divine union and partnership at this time or losing that opportunity. Because masculine, this is either seeing a feminine in this modality, recognizing it for what it is. A feminine that's effectively from that point of vulnerability, from that point of expression, was saying to you, I need to know now or never. And you're saying, I'm here. This is what I want. Absolutely. Without fail. This is you going into that space. This is that upgrade into divine union energy. Light bulb moment. Little light bulb moment. Or this is masculine trying to decide what to do. But the thing that's important is the action that you take in this moment is showing what you care about. Feminine is observing masculine in this moment as they go through a personal crisis. This is feminine energy in some way has articulated to the masculine that they're going through a personal crisis that was instigated by the masculine not coming forward the way that they would hope. And now feminine energy is looking to see what the masculine is doing in that moment. Is this a masculine that is running to the aid of a feminine that has articulated and expressed to them, I need help? Or is this a masculine that's holding firm, thinking about it, considering it? Why? Because the masculine energy, the feminine's looking at the masculine that's doing that and saying, I'm not the priority. I'm not the priority. I just told you I'm going through a crisis and you're not here. You're telling me that there's something else that you hold in higher value to the fact that I've articulated that I'm in a point of crisis. So again, and the problem right now that's occurring is the fact that for the energy that's seeing that right now, masculine is potentially under the false impression that the choice is up to them. That this is a moment that they get to decide which direction they're going in. That feminine is given them some kind of expression and said, of course, whatever you need. Sorry, I know, it's okay. It'll wait. Masculine's feeling like, it's cool. I like this. I've got an energy around me right now that's letting me decide what I want to do. No, you don't. No, you don't. You just had a feminine energy that you've confirmed to them. You just confirmed to them that when push comes to shove, when they tell you that they need you, when they open up, when they're vulnerable, they're watching. They're watching to see which direction you run in. They just told you there's a crisis. They're watching to see if you run towards them or if you work to protect your own stuff. If you're working to be like, I know, I can't, now's not a great time. Feminine's like, okay. Feminine's building that point of observation. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Between our Two of Swords in combination with our Temperance card. So, for masculine and feminine energy right now, again, it's that fickle decision right now about the difference about the whether the time is working on your benefit or if it's not. May I please have one card to clarify? Heavy eclipse energy. Transformation, transformation, transformation. Things are changing. Changes are afoot. Okay? Changes are afoot. Now, masculine and feminine energy. The beauty of the divine union, the beauty of the divine partnership is, again, this is not the work of a single day. It's not something that you need to do overnight, but you're being very patient because you're recognizing that the transformation that you're trying to do, the things that you're actually trying to do, they take time. You're using your discernment right now and trying to decide what to do first because there's a lot of things that you're trying to do. You're giving each other the benefit of time to just figure out the pacing on things, what needs to be done first. It's going to feel like a lot of this like slow transformation process. This is nice. The partner, the energy right now in divine union and partnership, this transformation is feeling like a slow, positive growth. It's feeling like something that like you can stretch out because you don't need to rush everything. Masculine and feminine energy. That is trying to come into partnership and union. This is it. This is that make or break point. The separation point has to do with the fact that masculine, this is where we see that this is a bit of that funhouse mirror we need to be really, 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 really cautious about prior to this next eclipse coming. Masculine, you feel like feminine just gave you a break. You feel like feminine just gave you some concession. You may have asked the feminine for more time. And you're feeling like that sense of relief. You're going, yippee! I told the feminine I need more time. Feminine said, cool. Feminine told me how they feel. Feminine broke down, opened up, told me how they feel. I told them I needed time. Everything's copacetic. I've got all the time I need to decide what I want to do. Feminine is not giving you time. Feminine saying time is up. Feminine came forward in that way to try to tell you that time was up. Feminine energy was watching to see what you would do. And if you don't move towards feminine right now, this is feminine saying, I'm gone. I'm moving on. I've already waited long enough. And the fact that I told you that this is creating a crisis and you're asking me to wait more, or you're not here, or you're showing me in some way, shape, or form that you've got obligations that are more important than the moment I articulate to you my point of crisis. This is feminine energy saying it's difficult, it's painful, it's a painful transformation process. Feminine doesn't want to move away from this. But feminine saying I have to. I got to continue forward. Has nothing to do with how they feel. Has everything to do with what they know they need. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Temperance card in combination with the Chariot. Powerful cards. May I please have one card to clarify? What are you building? What is important right now? Masculine and feminine energy in partnership at this moment. Again, this is the beauty of the partnership. This is going to feel, there's a lot of outside situations and circumstances that are creating a point of crisis. But it's okay. Feminine and masculine are doing everything they can to push the things forward as they can. Again, incremental progress, potentially even building a lot of this incremental process right now in partnership to identify how you've pushed the ball forward to a certain extent, because you are building something and you are recognizing that things don't need to be built overnight because you're in a divine union, you're in a divine partnership, you're building something bigger than the sum of its parts. You're working on something that is grander than something that you and another person can do on your own. It is this feeling of building something strong, but doing it very conscientiously. Masculine and feminine energy right now, this is the point of observation. And what is occurring right now for the feminine looking at the masculine, why this eclipse is the season is so important. Feminine is looking not at whether they have an emotional, physical, spiritual connection with energy. They're saying, are we moving in the same direction? Is there a possibility to grow? Is there a possibility for this to actually be something we can move into divine union with, building something bigger than what is just between us. This is that make or break moment for the feminine. That's why the feminine is effectively coming forward right now, recognizing that through a point of vulnerability that was very triggering, they were trying to identify to the masculine that they were in a point of crisis, and they are now watching the masculine energy to see if the masculine energy moves towards them or away from them. And if the because the feminine energy feels like they have waited this long and now is the time to see if this truly has the ability to come into divine union and partnership. The problem with the masculine energy, the funhouse mirror that's happening, is for the masculine energy, potentially bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. You feel like feminine just gave you time. You feel like you just asked for more time, and feminine is saying, sure, whatever you need. And again, that's actually a feminine that is moving away from you because you just told them everything that they needed to know. It's a feminine energy that's again saying, I just told you there's a crisis. Are you telling me you need more time? That's feminine saying, you're not moving towards me at a point of crisis. You're showing me in every way that you have priorities that are not about the partnership itself, that you don't understand the power or the viability of divine union. You're trying to do something on your own. You're trying to keep me separate from something. And that is that point that for some of the energy right now, this is feminine potentially walking away, moving away once and for all from some energy, saying, I'm done waiting. Feminine saying they're done waiting because they've already been waiting. They've this whole period between them and the masculine has been waiting for this ability to move as one. And this is that moment that feminine's either seeing the observation of an energy that recognizes the difference between being together versus truly moving together, moving as a team, doing things in tandem. This is that moment that says, can we actually build something? Are we actually building towards something? Because if not, feminine energy is making the choice to move towards something that they feel has that potentiality. That's all feminine's concentrating on right now. The problem with masculine right now is, again, you may be feeling like feminine just gave you the opportunity to take your time doing this. You may be and this is that moment that we're effectively identifying that you are recognizing to a certain extent that you feel like you're doing this. But the thing is, it's already been done. It's already happening. You're thinking that this is something that you're going to put into the future. Feminine's watching to see if it's happening right now. Because feminine feels to a certain extent that if you keep pushing something into the future, that it's not something you understand at this point. It's something that you're always going to push into the future. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between Nine of Cups in combination with our Death card. Clarification coming through right now with our Queen of Cups in its reversal. Again, this is why this is a crisis right now for feminine. And I have to stress, this is potentially feeling right now. And I need to stress right now, masculine, if you have a lot of feminine energy that you're asking them for more time, if you're telling them all the reasons that there's some things that aren't ideal right now with you coming into union with feminine like this right now, you may be getting a little bit of energy. You might even be saying, are you sure everything's okay? Are you sure everything's okay? And they're probably saying, yeah, everything's great. What would be wrong? No, of course. I understand. Totally understand. Nothing personal. I get it. Just giving a lot of energy of a feminine that's potentially giving masculine a lot of wordplay in this moment if they're experiencing this from the masculine. Because again, what's happening is completely different as it relates to how the feminine may be seeing this right now in separation partnership versus how the masculine is. Masculine may be looking at the feminine right now being like, you know what? I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your understanding of the fact that I need more time to decide what I want to do. I really appreciate the fact that you've been so open with me. I really appreciate the fact that you've told me how you feel. And I like that, like that's what I like about you. Thank you for giving me that time and space. And feminine's going, you're welcome. Feminine energy is already cutting off the connection. Feminine energy is already pulling away from that. Anything, of course, whatever you need. Yeah. Because feminine has gotten this point where they're like, again, if feminine's not going to explain it, this is why I said feminine's washing their hands. And masculine, you might not recognize this is happening. This feminine's already 4 steps out the door. Because the feminine feels like there is a crisis. This is literally happening for the feminine right now, where feminine's probably like feeling like there's a crisis happening and they're not expressing it. They're not expressing it to the masculine, especially if the masculine is trying to say in some way, shape, or form to the feminine right now, I just need a little more time. I just need a little more time. This is feminine going, oh, of course, all the time you need. I'll be here. I'll be here. I'll be here. Feminine's already looking for other opportunities if that's occurring. Because feminine already feels like the damage has been done. The crisis is literally happening. They told the masculine what they needed. They were vulnerable. They were triggered. Masculine did not rise to the challenge. Masculine energy, if you did, like, and again, a lot of energy came into partnership. This was feminine saying they needed this. Masculine showed up in a heartbeat. This is feminine just, again, and it's going to feel more fundamental for the feminine right now, moving back into separation at this point, because that's feminine going, it's okay. Because feminine just saw everything that they needed to see. Masculine energy right now, if you're moving right now, either trying to come into partnership or if you're in separation, there could be a moment that you're feeling like something's a little weird. Something's a little off with this feminine energy. They seem a little bit like they're not completely being open to you at this time. Because again, you may have even been vacillating. You may have been trying to tell this energy that you need more time. And this is that moment that you're like, cool. Are we taking time? Like, again, this is feminine energy. If the feminine said they needed you, you're there. You're probably in divine union. You're moving into divine union right now. If this is an energy where you kind of, feminine opened up to you and you said, I just need a little bit more time. I just need to make some adjustments. Like, my life is very complicated right now. I don't know if I can fit you in it, but maybe if give me some space, I can make some changes. And now the feminine's like, okay, cool. Of course. Yeah. You may starting to get a little impression that this is like, you may be noticing or having a feeling that's creeping up right now that this feminine is not. Like, they may be saying yes, but you know what, what's really, make sure you're not misunderstanding this, because if the feminine's going, yeah, okay, and they seem a little weird, this is why they're weird. Because they're looking at this as the ending. They're looking at this as you choosing your own priorities and your own life rather than coming into divine union. And they're feeling right now that that is something, choice that you will never not make. So, continue. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in divine union, that is in divine partnership. One of the challenges that we're effectively seeing at this time is, again, for the feminine right now, again, we see masculine and feminine are both going through like the ropes to a certain extent. Masculine and feminine in partnership right now, there are some situations and circumstances around you right now that are difficult. They're terrifying. They're creating some sense of crisis potentially. We've even seen for the feminine having to deal with outside unhealed karmic energy. Masculine may be seeing and observing the feminine having to do so in some capacity, wanting to rush to their aid, feeling like you can't help in some ways. This is that moment that for both energies, you are relying on the divine partnership. You are relying on the divine union. You are recognizing the changes that are occurring around both of you right now. It's very hard for the feminine emotionally right now, but again, the partnership itself is helping to fortify you as you continue to go through these points of transformation. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between our Death card in combination with our Three of Pentacles. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Seven of Cups. So, masculine and feminine energy right now, if you're in partnership and union, one of the difficulties, one of the challenges is, again, what you're trying to create is more about what you're choosing to do first. It almost feels like for the energy right now in divine union and partnership, there's so many opportunities around. There's so many different things calling your attention to you. It's more about trying to figure out where to put that energy together. You know, it's like There's a lot of changes that are happening. There's a lot of potential frustrations. But again, the solidity and stability is more about trying to be conscientious on where you put that unified effort. And it could be feeling overwhelming at times, but it's almost potentially feeling like, for the energy and partnership and union right now, a bit like an embarrassment of riches. Potentially you could even be articulating to each other that this is like kind of the best worst problem. Because it's not the fact that there isn't something that you want to grow or build together. It's trying to decide where to put your energy first. While for masculine and feminine energy that is trying to come into partnership, that is trying to come into union right now, this is that moment that we are effectively identifying at this time, that this is the make or break moment. This is the moment that the energy is either coming into union right now or it's over. Why? Because feminine articulated a crisis point to masculine. The vulnerability that's been expressed over the last few days to masculine, in combination with them being triggered, was the feminine crying out for help to the masculine. Feminine needed the masculine to show up in the same way. This was either masculine that was rushing forward to do so, i.e. showing the ability to come into divine union and partnership, putting the priority of the partnership above any and all other obligations. Or this was a masculine energy that the feminine recognized, moved away from them, backed off, took a step back, seeing a feminine energy in crisis. And this is that point of observation wherein the feminine is utilizing that as a point of transformation, recognizing that, again, this is not typically this is not an energy that they will ever be able to rely upon to be there when things get difficult. That this is an energy that will either back away when they see something that gets difficult, or they will try to ask for more time. They will try to concede and say, well, I want that with you, but now isn't the time. I just need to do X, I need to do Y, I need to do Z. And again, the problem with the masculine energy that may be experiencing this right now is the feminine's going, sure, yeah, sure, whatever you need. But that's not what they mean. That's the feminine effectively ending things with the masculine, because the feminine has seen all they need. The feminine has seen a masculine energy that in a moment that the feminine said, I want to build something with you, the masculine went, well, I'm not sure if I want to. I'm not sure if I don't know. I got a lot of other things on my plate. Like, that's what's happening energetically. And the feminine is letting that be the point of release. That is closing the cycle. That's the masculine showing the feminine where their priorities lie is not with the feminine. While for masculine, you may be feeling on some energetic level that you recognize that this is happening. You may be recognizing right now that there may be some deep shift that's happening right now as it relates to some of your connections. That is this moment that is either fortifying, building that commitment in, really showing where your priorities lie. Or it's removing something from your life right now while giving you the gift back of having whatever option you potentially desire. Because this is now becoming a moment that is entirely about commitment right now for the masculine cycle. Are you ready to commit to something and build something? Or are you going to continue to operate in a space or place where you leave all of your options open? Final card for today's spread between our Queen of Cups in its reversal and our Seven of Cups. High Priestess in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership or in union. One of the only things that's creating a bit of a challenging space right now, and it's going to feel like we saw this, I need to stress, for the partnered energies yesterday. Yesterday, we identified that it was a very difficult day for the masculine as it relates to a sense of empowerment. Today, we're seeing that it's coming through a bit harder for the feminine. Why? Well, it makes sense. We've seen that the feminine energies had to put a lot of concentration in spaces and places of stability at this time. And this is making the feminine energy feel rather overwhelmed. And what happens when the feminine energy is feeling overwhelmed? They start to feel less like they're in a point of emotional balance. And they also start to question their own determinations and their own decisions at this time. This may be a masculine right now. It may also be difficult because we see here that the masculine's having to put a lot of care and attention into their own stuff right now. So the feminine may even be feeling right now in partnership that they're kind of like navigating some of this alone. This may even be feeling like to the feminine energy, just as the masculine's been carrying a lot of emotionality to themselves right now, that they haven't been as eager or be able to express to the feminine. This is feminine energy having to navigate right now, even in partnership, their own feelings of uncertainty. They're unpacking their own emotionality. And it may be feeling like an isolating situation in the partnership itself as you decide like where to put your effort and energy next, because this feeling of overwhelm has been coming through very, very heavily, specifically for the feminine right now. And again, even potentially questioning oneself in partnership as it relates to what to do first or what to do next. Masculine right now, you may be identifying and seeing the feminine energy in this vibration. You may even be seeing that this feminine energy feels like they're cracking a little bit today from an emotional perspective as they like start to like, and this is what we want to make sure the masculine may be. Again, remember how we said and we saw over the last few days some of the feminine energy having a bit of that imposter syndrome? This is potentially the masculine needing to come forward and like help feminine energy navigate some options right now, because the feminine energy is starting to experience that feeling of overwhelm as it relates to the best way to move forward and the best thing to do, because they feel like they've been fighting so much throughout this week. Masculine and feminine energy that is trying to come into partnership or is in separation right now. This is that moment. And this is the problem. This is the problem. Masculine, you may be feeling right now that if you are not in separate contact with your feminine, that there may be something here where you feel like there's something that's still a possibility that's existing here. That this is a feminine energy that you're working on, like taking your time to figure out the best way to come towards. You're assessing your options. The difficulty or hurdle that you need to recognize is the fact that I feel like for a lot of the masculine, you think that the feminine can't see you doing this. You think that this is something that you're doing in a vacuum, but what they're really doing, feminine energy right now, can effectively see you doing it. They can see you doing it. There's almost something here that the feminine is recognizing. That if there is a delay in moving towards the feminine as they've articulated a need or tried to communicate with you, and you're not responding, that is the sign that you are considering your options. And the problem is feminine energy does not want to be considered an option, nor do they recognize that they would be considered an option by an energy that was committed to the space of divine union. And the worst part is for the feminine energy that's experiencing any of that delay, it's immediately leading the feminine energy to now wonder, what are those other options? It's almost like showing, and this is the problem here, this is feminine energy that's now saying, if you're not moving towards me, is there someone else? If you're not moving robustly immediately towards this, is there something else, someone else? And now this is almost a feminine energy feeling the frustration and anger coming in, because now they're starting to question not just whether this is a masculine energy that is trying to say that they need to make some adjustments in their own life. This is feminine energy no longer believing that on the part of the masculine. This is feminine energy going, if you're not just moving me in, if you're not just coming into a space of integrating me into your life, that must mean that there's someone else you do not want me to see. There must be a reason that you're trying to do this in a vacuum instead of just doing it with me present. And now it is a frustration of a feminine looking at something, and this is almost creating additional pain, because now this is creating a moment where feminine is saying, it's not a question about whether you want something with me. It's a question of the feminine feeling like they may not necessarily understand everything fully, because now there's some new idea or fear that's inspired or being arisen as to who this other energy is, that the masculine energy is almost like the feminine is now looking at that point of distance, that point of separation, almost like a smoke screen. Like almost like a smoke screen that the masculine may be putting up right now as they try to clear some space. Masculine. Again, you're feeling right now, you're potentially thinking and feeling like the feminine's giving you some space, but they're not. This is a feminine energy that feels like they've drawn all the conclusions that they need to draw based on how you've responded to something. And the thing they were trying to see is whether you were vacillating. Whether you were going to move with them, towards them with intention after they opened up and they expressed how they were feeling, or if you were going to continue to occupy this flimsy space, which the feminine is now kind of taking as confirmation that you want to keep your options open. Heavy eclipse energy, bottom of the deck on this reading right now. The problem with a lot of this is potentially coming through in the fact, and especially for the energies that are in separation right now, masculine energy, you're going through a point of emotional overwhelm. It's not about, again, I'm getting here a lot of sense of masculine energy that's trying to articulate to the feminine right now, being like, I love you. You know, the masculine energy is feeling potentially right now, there might be a point where the masculine energy is misunderstanding and thinking that the feminine energy is just looking for the masculine to express their emotions. No. Feminine energy is not in a state or space where an expression of emotionality is going to fix things at this point. This is potentially a feminine energy that does not trust the words that someone says if they don't see the actions that amplify and validate those words. There's something here, a masculine, that's where we see this funhouse mirror that's occurring, which is like, oh, this feminine energy, everything's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay when I tell this feminine energy, when I surprise this feminine energy and tell them how I feel. When I express my emotions for this energy, everything, this is going to be like a romance. It's going to be like a romance novel. I'm going to open my heart to the feminine, and then everything's going to be okay again. But that's not what's happening here. That's why even the masculine right now is trying to ask for more time for the feminine, because they think that this is like an emotional hurdle that the feminine's giving them space to overcome. This is a feminine that is not looking for emotions. This could even be a feminine that recognizes that masculines are typically very bad at expressing their emotions. This is a feminine looking at the actions of the masculine to amplify how the masculine truly feels about them. So this is the opposite happening. This is a feminine watching the masculine's energy to determine if they truly care. And the problem with the feminine right now that's creating a bit of a crisis is there's something that they're seeing in the vacillation of the masculine energy and separation or trying to come into partnership that is articulating to the feminine energy that while the masculine energy may say that they care, that care does not necessarily reflect back on actually seeing and experiencing love in their own life. Because it's one thing for someone to say that they love you, and then there's another thing to see someone act like they love you. Feminine and masculine energy in partnership right now, this is just more of that moment that we are identifying. That again, it's a bit difficult because again, there's something here about the masculine energy even still not having a moment right now where it's easy for them to emotionally convey something. We even identified and articulated in partnership at this time, this may be a masculine energy who's harboring or holding back a lot of feelings that they don't want to express because they feel like if they do, it may lead to a point of emotional overwhelm. This is more of that kind of hiding something from the feminine right now that may be feeling like a bit of a challenging space, because even for the energies in partnership right now, feminine may be feeling like a lot of what they're seeing on the part of the masculine and trying to like throw themselves into their work is so they don't need to experience or feel some of these things. So this is potentially even feeling like a bit of a separator, even for the energies in partnership at this moment. Masculine, you're feeling kind of emotionally overwhelmed. You're throwing yourself into work to navigate it. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here to experience it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video with the option of a recording sent to you afterwards. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please keep in mind that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a personal reading. I will never PM you. I will never DM you. I will never slide into your PMs and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing with me in these readings. And we will do this again tomorrow. Guys, that was the Daily Collective Read. I know.